Okay, Assalamualaikum and selamat petang. Welcome to ZAID Ibrahim Podcast. Today kita ada satu soal tetamu khas, kawan saya, Dr. Rais. Welcome, Rais.
Thank you for having me.
Rais dia seorang teknokrat, penulis, analis, macam-macam, komentar, intelektual Melayu yang saya rasa banyak orang dah tahulah. Jadi saya jemput beliau petang ini nak bincang satu dua perkara yang saya kira penting lah. Walaupun perkara yang kita nak bincang ini mengenai perjanjian Amerika dengan kita hari itu yang ditandatangani oleh Anwar tu dengan Trump, ramai telah memberi hujah mereka, pandangan mereka. Tetapi ada 2-3 perkara yang saya nak timbulkan dengan Dr. Rais dan saya percaya beliau boleh he can clarify things lah. Tapi sebelum kita sampai ke Amerika dengan Anwar ni, saya nak tanya Dr. Rais dulu. Dia ni orang politik dulu ni, apa jadi? You were in Bersatu, you founded Bersatu.
Yeah, it's a very interesting experience that I've had at Bersatu.
Yeah.
Back in 2015,
Yeah.
when something happened to Tan Sri Mohidin. Essentially, Najib had him sacked. And the very same night I was at his house and we were discussing, and I said, Tan Sri, let us establish a Malay-based party to take on and save the country. Tan Sri Mohidin was taken aback, and then he said, what's your experience? I said, in politics, zero. But I'm a good organizer and thinker, and I can come up with strategies. So there were 3 of us at that night, Dr. Marzuki, great guy, and then Tan Sri Mohidin and myself. But then this issue was brought up to our affable Tun Mahathir, but at that time we disagreed. Dia kata kita akan buat perubahan tu melalui UMNO. And I told him, Tun, you know UMNO better than me. Saya ni Mama Putra. And he was not happy when I said Mama Putra, but saya ni Mama Putra. And you know UMNO better because you were in UMNO for all your life. Your blood is UMNO. And UMNO is the best multi-level marketing political party in the world. Atas sana berbilion-bilion, lepas tu berjuta-juta, beratus-ribu. It's a patronage system. There's no way you can do anything with UMNO because UMNO works that way. So whoever there's an incumbency, he will be
control.
So bila saya cakap gitu, then he said, no, we will try. We can go through UMNO, we go to the parliament, blah, blah, blah. But then he said that after some time he went to the Raja-Raja pula. Dia kata ini adalah payung, segala payung, and maybe this is the way. Then I said, okay, I'm just exhausted at that time debating with him, and I keep on saying that we need to establish a Malay-based party because we cannot have any other party. Because otherwise kita akan dipanggil pengkhianat. Satu. Keduanya, there must be 5 focal ataupun asas dia. Satu, reform. Kedua, keadilan, justice. Then inclusiveness. Then moderation, wasatiyah, and inclusiveness. And kalau kita ada 5 komponen asas, that is a foundation of the party, then we will go in. So a few months later, when he went through all the signature campaign, the royal payung, and then the UMNO thing, there was one night our Dr. Marzuki called and said, Rais, you have to come to Tan Sri's house tonight at 8 o'clock. And there's a meeting. Tan Sri minta you attend sekali. I said, okay, I'll be there. So I went to the meeting, and I was there earlier, about 20 minutes or so. And then I said, Tan Sri, what meeting is this about? He said, finally, Tun has agreed to that party formation. So he's coming, so let's have a chat. So at that time, Datuk Sri Shafi Abdal, Datuk Sri Mukris Mahathir, Tan Sri Mohidin, and Tun came at 7:59. The meeting is supposed to start 8 kan? Ini orang Jepun sikit. So 7:59 he arrived.
So he was very eager.
And I was there. And I was still thinking, what what the heck am I doing here?
Yeah.
Because I'm not a politician, blah, blah, blah. So during that time, there were discussion about this. At that time, I call it Reform Justice Party. Tapi lepas tu, Tan Sri coming up with this Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia, which is a fantastic idea with the acronym of Bersatu. The main item that day was siapa presiden. So at that time, I advocated for Tan Sri Muhyiddin as the president and Tun Mahathir as a penasihat. But Tun Mahathir says, kalau nasihat tak diterima, kalau saya pun penasihat Najib tapi dia tak dengar. So then we agreed that there will be a pengerusi and president. So that's how Bersatu came about. And so I was part of that particular history. Okay. And alhamdulillah. But Bersatu went well. We fought valiantly and we had so much of trouble in doing so. But at the end of the day, that's when my interactions with people like Rafizi, Chintong, Sim PKR, Dr. Zul Amana, all that happened. So I was involved quite actively. I was asked to become the person as chairman for manifesto writing and committee. So alhamdulillah, it all went well and we won. And although at that time, one of the research house in Malaysia told Najib that BN will win with 2/3 majority. But Invoke said that we will win with slender lead. And MA Research that I was helming at that time, we came up with a number. Yes, slender, but PAS will do well because we forecasted or predicted 18 to 20 seats. Invoke says 0, but the other research houses said no, BN will get 2/3 majority. So when the result came out, alhamdulillah, it was very much mirrored to what MA Research forecasted and Invoke forecasted. And since then, we've perfected the modeling of predicting results. And the last 6 state seats ni, our accuracy was 95.6. And Terengganu, we said 0 to anyone else except PN and PAS lah. And I got whacked left, right, centre. Tikam lah, itulah, inilah. But they do not understand research is based on grounded data, science and so on. So that is how it is. So I've been actively involved in some GLCs, as you know, MDEC, then Meranti. But now I'm taking a breathing space and completing to write another book, being with family more. Watching, unfortunately, Liverpool is not doing well. Hope Slot will get sacked very soon, and hope things will be better.
Yeah. Okay. Before I come to the trade agreement, one more question about Bersatu. I'm not convinced that it is a very strong opposition at the moment. I see Bersatu in a way fractured in many ways, not just because of the internal dissension, but also because expectations that you talk about, reform, wasatiyah, and all those things, I don't see it happening.
Okay. It started out well, and then a lot of them have been, orang kata, ditarbiyah, ataupun the learning process was to reflect these 5 core principles. The battle cry was Save Malaysia. Of course, since then, a lot of people, after especially, interestingly, I have this knack of joining opposition all the time. So in 2015, I joined the opposition and founded Bersatu when they were not in the government. And in 2022, late 2022, before the election, I joined PKR. And after leaving Bersatu, also in the government. Opposition, never in the government. So when I saw, yes, there are some challenges, some issues, and which party doesn't have?
Yeah.
PKR pun sekarang having that battle, which I'm a member of, inactive, be that as may. Then you have UMNO that went through the challenges. You know that better than me. Bersatu went through ni. But one thing about Bersatu is this. Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin is a very calm and composed person. Cakaplah apa you nak cakap, but he will think very methodically. And of course, he's circumvented, ditawaf oleh orang-orang tertentu. And but the ring fencing works in every political party. In every time they become government. You think Anwar is not ring fenced by the people? Same. You think Najib was not ring fenced by the people? Same. So whenever somebody becomes a prime minister, immediately the ring fence will come in, either in the form of kekuningan ataupun kehijauan ataupun keungguan, whatever lah. But that thing will come. So my belief is this: we've been always looking at numbers in terms of on ground, right? We do diligent and robust research on our model, a predictive model, which has been very accurate for 2 general election and 6 state election. Our accuracy is 95.6. But fair enough, it is always focused on the 165 peninsula, doesn't include Sabah, Sarawak. And at this point of time, don't be surprised if Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin makes a comeback. And don't be surprised. And don't be surprised if Perikatan Nasional, PAS and all the other under the IPR
umbrella
will do better. The Indians are annoyed, very upset with a lot of things, as always.
And the Chinese too now.
Chinese are more upset because certain policies were introduced abruptly. Let me give you an example. The e-invoice and then the SST. SST ni is a very regressive model. If you have 6 from the time there is a natural resources to the
end
consumer,
product.
katakan the process tu ada 6 processes, then you 6 times 6, 36%. That's why our inflation, I don't know, I still fail to understand how the inflation is 1 point something percent. I don't understand that lah. But maybe my doctorate in finance and econometrics cannot decipher that percentage kan. Maybe they have some other methods kan. I think if you put in AI, the number will be certainly different. Our inflation, food inflation is very high.
Very high.
And you go, I mean, don't take it from me. You just take trolley, you pergi mana-mana supermarket, you beli barang, you can see the difference, huge difference. And I'm talking about not, traditionally I have also challenged this. They keep on talking about B40, M40, T20. I think they are living in lullaby land. It is no longer B40. Rafizi agreed with me on this 2-3 years. We talked about this 2-3 years ago because when we saw the numbers, we see after COVID and after the economic crisis, we see the B40 has become B70 and M40 have become M20 and T20 have become T10. And that is why the policy based on this earlier classification is erroneous. And until today, we still have the ministers that has been so much praised by Datuk Sri Anwar yesterday. That is something I cannot understand. But he praised these ministers who still quotes B40 and M40 and T20. Non-existent. So the inflation is questionable, the classification is poor, and doesn't reflect the ground reality. So when the business guys, when you talk about 6% compounded, 36%, as compared to a more orang kata apa, progressive tax regime, which is the GST.
The GST,
They should go back. I mean, I was one of those who were very much 2015, 2016 about GST because the money collected was not properly used. Because if you remember the ketirisan corruption too, from very rigorous research done by MA Research from the year 1998 to 2022, the amount of money that we have lost through corruption and leakages was 4.5 trillion ringgit. And when we sent it for peer review with some foreign and local universities, they still say it's underestimated. So, you know, so that's why we were against it.
We have lost trillions, you're right.
But today, our utang berapa? 1.3 trillion. That's why this is, I'm not saying this is Anwar's fault ke siapa punya fault, tapi Anwar was part of the government also masa 98 apa semua kan. So it's not like prior to that also. So my view is this, apa yang telah berlaku di zaman dulu, we have not invented flux capacitor. We cannot go back in time to correct it, but we can correct it now. So GST at that point of time under Najib premiership, questionable. But now you can introduce GST. GST is more progressive. That's why I appeal to all these people. 6 months when SST was first introduced, I said, why the rush? Sometimes I believe everything is rush, and then you turn.
I like your point about our ministers. I just want to. I consider the group of people around Anwar actually quite mediocre, in my view. In not all of them, but especially the trade minister.
You are being very generous.
or whatever minister.
He's no longer the minister, by the way.
Oh, he's no longer. Zafrul no longer. I thought that he's the man responsible for this agreement that we want to talk about. And the first point I want to ask you, I know a lot of people have given their views, horses, unfairness, loss of sovereignty, but one point that I want to make is I sense a lot of secrecy behind this agreement. Suddenly America said this is the agreement. My question to you, why? And this is also a relevant question because Dr. Mahathir in his police report used the word sabotage. He used the word sabotage, I don't know. So I regard this agreement as something not the normal agreement that nations sign with each other, even bilateral trade, CAPA. Now, can you explain to me why the circumstances like that?
3 ways I will explain. Number one is, this is not the first time Zafrul oversaw agreement that is quite clandestinely done, okay? Number one, the agreement that was earlier signed was the 5G agreement.
No, the 5G.
If you remember correctly, prior to him being appointed as a finance minister, then there's already the proper method, i.e. you do an auction for the spectrum and then you let the telephone companies, the telcos, to bid, and then after the telco bids, it was even awarded. And then these telcos will go to the capital market, raise funds, and when they raise funds, the KLSC or whatever they call it now, FBMC or whatever alphabet, will be sexier and attracts attention, blah, blah, blah. So that's the normal thing. The whole world, this planet Earth, they use multiple wholesale network by way of this method. But
we want to be different.
Only Brunei did a single wholesale network because they are very small. Even Singapore down south here, they have a 5 million population. They have 3 5G network. But this agreement was again done hush-hush, quickly, blah, blah, blah. And what happens? So you bought single wholesale network, you put the entire technology and innovation to one company, a company called Ericsson. Ericsson is not a bad company, but my question is, why do you want to constrain yourself to one technology, one innovation sphere? Because we all know Ericsson, although good, been in Malaysia for decades and decades, but at the same time, we have a lot of competitors like Huawei. Huawei is doing extremely well. But why do you constrain yourself? Firstly. Secondly, you, instead of making money out of the spectrum for the people, you take people's money and then you create DNB and then you use DNB as a vehicle to supposedly to do blah, 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 to bridge digital divide in the kampung area. I say, if I ask you, in the kampung area, they don't need 5G. Yeah. All they need is 3G plus or 4G at most. Sebab WhatsApp, video, YouTube, macam tu je lah. 5G is something else, right? And it's so it defies logic to do that. So that's why I think MA Research wrote about 25 op-ed on this, questioning, challenging. Pernah kena panggil banyak kali, but jawab juga. explain to them. I'm a telco guy. Berapa tahun? 28 tahun, boss. And I explain to them, oh no, our COPA is good. COPA maknanya coverage of populated area. This is what Fahmi will be telling you even now. Dia ni macam reading the Zionist talking points kan. Defense, self-defense. Right? So terus COPA. I say COPA is not a good benchmark for 5G. The good benchmark is adoption, not COPA. So you are doing like a supply driven rather than market driven. And kita tengok negara-negara yang bagus, cekap dalam 5G deployment. Korea, China.
Yeah.
They go for industrial area, industrial park. Macam technology park. Boleh lah. Tapi ini nak pergi kampung Kelawang to 5G.
For what?
Why? What for? Kan? So that agreement was supervised by Zafrul. A lot of things that tak betul, and even when Datuk Sri Anwar took over and became a Prime Minister, I met him. I think for the entire time that until now, I met him only once after he became the Prime Minister, and I talked about only 5G. I said, look, boss, you really need to undo this unfair, unjust agreement from single wholesale network to multiple wholesale network. Maknanya, you let the telcos do this is business.
Yeah.
Why government is getting involved using people's money? Buat apa? Berbilion-bilion ringgit. It'll be wasted. Yeah. And guess what? Just few days ago, DNB was taken over by various telcos. Exactly what I predicted. That will happen. Because DNB as its entity cannot and will not be able to sustain itself. That's Zafrul again, right? So that's Zafrul. Zafrul also Tesla. Cakap banyak, we've done this, that. But what happened? When the reporters asked him, hey, you promised Tesla will set up this operation, this and that. What happened? So, dia punya answer very simple. Tanyalah Tesla. Can you imagine that? Because a person who are born with the golden spoon, tak tahu benda-benda macam ni. And then we come to the art agreement. Ni lagi satu. And before going there, I was in 2 GLCs at least. And let me tell you some of the recent most GLCs that I was the CEO. When we want to sign agreement with foreign entities, do you know we have a process? We have to go through the process internally within that entity, GLC for instance. Then we need to bring this up to the supervisory ministry of the GLC for concurrence from the PUU, Pegawai Undang-Undang. Then, depending on the type of the agreement and the value of the agreement, it has to be brought to MITI/MIDA, then MOFA and MOF. And that kembali, only then, from that particular feedback from all this, we will then go back to the entity, that foreign entity, and say, like, boss, yeah, all this is good, but this is what we want, this is what the ministry wants, and we need to amend. And then once they agree or they disagree or they amend, we bring it back. So we have a process. So the persoalan sekarang ni, did this ART agreement went through the same process? So if you notice, quickly dia kata, why are you doubting the civil service? I'm telling you, Datuk Zaid, I will never doubt the civil service, because when I see the pegawai undang-undang, cukup cakap. It is so, it's not easy to sign an agreement with them giving the feedback, because they are very particular, very robust, very rigorous in protecting the country's interests. So I do not doubt the PUU. I do not think anybody doubt the civil service. Janganlah buat political narrative. The way Zafrul talk about ini, you are questioning the PUU and the civil service. Nothing to do with civil service.
We're questioning you.
Yes, you are the minister, because the buck stops at you. And selalunya bila the minister, the pegawai ini, they will come, sir, we need your steer. Mulalah. So the question now is, the secrecy has happened. That's why during I was asked to testify at the Parliamentary Select Committee on Foreign Affairs on this. So my question was, I presented few things, but I asked, why the rush? In this region, ASEAN, dulu ASEAN 10, now ASEAN 11, and the latest one included. I asked this question, why the rush? Kalau kita lihat hanya 2 negara yang sign. Satu Malaysia, satu lagi Cambodia. Cambodia pun dia punya agreement quite tighten up. Kita punya ni, anybody can walk in. And that's a dangerous thing, anybody can walk in. So Thailand and Vietnam still working on the framework. Belum sign lagi. Thailand recently kata go fly kite because they were pushed for that agreement, the supposed peace agreement Thailand Cambodia,
peace agreement, yeah.
And that agreement have been violated 2-3 kali dah. And so for Thailand, they are saying couldn't care less what America want to do with the tariff, let them do. But for them, the word Thai means free. Thailand is only one country in this region was never colonized. Okay. Kita ni pula colonize banyak. Daripada Majapahit, Sriwijaya, then the Portuguese, then the Dutch, then the British. Forever we are colonized. That's why we negotiated this in a colonized mind. Yeah. We do not know how to negotiate the contract.
Yeah. No, the one is secrecy, the rush. Now, can you just elaborate from what you have heard? Not direct evidence, maybe anecdote or whatever. But what is the rush? I mean, why do you think it is a rush? I mean, it was clear to most people. But what do you think that prompted?
To me, beginilah. Recently, I was asked to brief one particular political party that has few ministers in the present government on this. I asked the same question. So I asked the minister concerned, did you see this agreement in full text in the cabinet? If the person say yes, understood, right? Yeah. But macam tu kan. So then it's understood. I think maybe MJM, you've been a cabinet minister before, the MJM, so you'll probably provided a summary. I doubt it that all the ministry relevant. Let's take for instance the REE. Kita bagi REE kan. But REE, macam sekarang ni we have a company dekat Pahang tu. Linas. Yes. They can do segregation of that REE up to 5 or 6 levels. Yeah. China can do it up to 16 to 18 levels. That's the thing that we need for all the military application, this and that. Before this, China already agreed to help. You think China will help now? No. Russia came in 1 year ago or 8 months or 10 months ago, agreed to facilitate and help in the area of nuclear, small modular reactors and so on. But in this contract, in this agreement, it is clearly stated anything nuclear, America. And then countries that is not OVNI, very clear kan. So bila kita tengok benda-benda macam ni, I cannot believe agency nuclear ataupun the ministry here is Ministry of Science, Technology, Innovation would have said yes, this is all right. I don't think so. And then Boeing. We've committed 30-30. And Boeing ni has serious safety issues. Dia punya CEO about 2 months or 3 months ago was fired because of safety issues, so compromising safety issues. Why? We talk about Tata Kelola. I want to make sure it's not Tata Kelaut. It was Tata Kelola. Tata Kelola means what? Open. Yes, we have Boeing, we have Airbus. But there's another company that is fast. In fact, in Dubai Air Show recently, that company, the CNC, Chinese company, they got the most visitation to see their aircraft. Which is reasonably close to Boeing and Airbus. And now they're just completing the flying hours required before put on the commercial use. So bila you tulis macam tu in the appendix mengatakan I buy this, so what happens? And on top of that, $75 billion boss, we will invest in the US to create job creation. Hang supposed to create job in Malaysia, not there.
And then I remember there were reference to GRC's having to do all this thing as well.
Yeah, commercial.
Yeah.
On the commercial arrangement.
On
So
commercial
when you cakap gitu, commercial arrangement, so what happens to the government policies?
Yeah.
What happens to the Bumi Putra empowerment policies? What happens?
What?
I'm just asking the question, kan? Zafrul knows better because dia ni golden spoon kan, lahir dengan golden spoon. He may know better. Maybe he speaks English in a different planet. But from what my reading, when we read this agreement, we got quite senior lawyers to look at it, and they do not want to wish to be mentioned. And one junior lawyer and two senior lawyers, we spent close to 7-8 days on this, and then we came up with a very simple, which was shared openly and publicly. Unlike the clandestine operation to sign this agreement, we openly shared this. What is a component? Satu, the clauses as it is. Kedua, how is this problematic? Ketiga, the suggested amendment modification. Keempat, if we modify that, what protection we get for each article and clauses, and we distributed to everyone, including Prime Minister Anwar, PMO office, semua lah. Tapi yang which was also presented to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Foreign Affairs, which Wong Chen chairs. So bila we presented, and then there were questions by MPs, various MPs from opposition and government, backbenchers pun, we answered. And the question then was, remember the word shell? Shell pun dia political narrative. Shell ni dalam international treaty doesn't mean you must do. Astaghfirullahalazim. You're a lawyer, you know better, right? Wong Chen is a lawyer, he knows better. And our senior lawyers have said, shell means shell lah, kena buat. And if you look at the number of shells, dia orang satu saja, kita more than 49. Mati kita. So, and then you are not signing this agreement with Burundi or Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
You are signing with the superpower.
The super bully.
Sorry, you are right. Super bully. And kalau you sign this agreement begitu, what happens? Kalau you tak nak lepas tu, you boleh lah. You fly over to London's house or duduk sini, you okay. But the people will be suffering. The country will need. So I think, but we also offer the solution. Kita bagi all that articles by article, clause by clauses, kan? And there is one article 7.3 which allows for the amendment and modification of the clauses, but it must be told within 60 days. And I can't remember when it was signed.
But I think it's almost over now.
If we do not do that, and then there's another thing, if it is ratified, koyak kita. Of course, some of the proponents of the agreement say like this. They kata the Supreme Court in the US have not endorsed or approved the authority of tariff to Trump.
Yeah,
because
but that's hoping that.
The thing is that why do you want for you to let the Supreme Court of a foreign country to decide what is good for us?
Yes.
Astaghfirullahalazim. I thought we got independence in 1957.
Okay, I know it's very disheartening. The country is being managed this way. I mean, we have come to a point now where it's difficult to trust. I mean, we can't trust ministers. We can't trust some of the civil service aspects. What MACC did to that deal, to this guy who was just a witness, or even a corrupt fellow, but still. I mean, this is where I know it's difficult for you to answer, but the opposition today, as is, you said, with PAS and Pre-N and hopefully whoever else wants to join, do they have a chance based on your numbers?
Based on the numbers and people's sentiment,
yes,
ada this the present opposition. And I think the present opposition have to do a lot of recalibration of thought process, recalibration.
Like what?
Like for instance, to show a unity, show that you are a credible alternative. That's quite easy because the present one is not that credible. So you have an easy way of doing the credible alternative. And I think it's just a little bit like Liverpool sekarang lah. Keadaan tak betul kan? Always kalah sana, kalah sini kan? So everyone talks about the coach not being the one who is supposed to be the right coach. In the case of Perikatan Nasional, you already have a good figurehead, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. I think he is capable. He's very calm, very composed. There were some young chikus in the politics comes and want to dethrone, tak sabar. Nak cepat nak push Tan Sri Muhyiddin out, bring dia punya ni. And come on, you cannot compare Hamzah Zainuddin to Tan Sri Muhyiddin. I mean, whoever compares that, maybe they need to go to a school of politics again lah. So I think they have that ingredient.
Okay, before do you think PAS supports Muhyiddin as Prime Minister?
These are the things that has been discussed many times. Many people are saying many stories, but until today, I've never heard from PAS mouth directly that kita tak nak Tan Sri Muhyiddin. Ada pernah dengar? Yang kita dengar ni daripada those people who wants a certain reason for their own vested interest purposes. I think PAS is quite pragmatic. When I say pragmatic ni, dia boleh condong mana-mana kan? So my view is this. You already have a figurehead. The ground sentiment is not that good. I mean, Sabah may not represent or not a referendum for the present government because Sabah, the dynamics still lain sikit because it is the dynamics is like Sabah for Sabahan, and they want Sabahan to be, they want macam Sarawak lah sikit. So the issues in Sabah is a little bit different, but for DAP to be washed out completely, wiped out completely, and for PKR getting one seat, and UMNO thereabout doing 6 or something, but Warisan made a huge shock, and independents are doing well. So is that indicator what's going to happen in Peninsula as well? Possible, because don't rule out Tan Sri Muhyiddin's ability. I said this in Rafizi podcast as well. I told him that don't rule out this guy because he's composed, he's calm, cakap lah apa you nak cakap, and he will deal with it in a very composed
Itulah, I jemput dia podcast tapi dia tak nak.
No,
you better persuade him lah. Tell him that Zaid is also composed and calm.
When I was in Bersatu, Tun Mahathir used to tell people that I'm Tan Sri Muhyiddin's man, and then Tan Sri Muhyiddin people will say that I am Tun Mahathir's man. Then at one time Tun Mahathir was saying that I'm Anwar's man. Allah, saya pun confused.
Yeah.
I keep on telling Rais Hussin is Rais Hussin. If you look at all my writings, whether from Najib's time, then Tun Mahathir's time, Tan Sri Muhyiddin's time, Ismail Sabri tak sangat lah because dia pun tak buat apa pun. Then you have this Anwar's time. I've been critical. So that is in a continuum. So it is not because I'm that person's man or this person's man. I have my own views. That's why I keep on telling people, which all of them don't like it, that I said I'm not a politician. And I do not know lah. Tapi if Perikatan Nasional wants to do it together with PAS, it has to be with PAS lah. Because the Perlis, Northern Perak, Kedah, Kelantan, Terengganu, for the first time, Selangor, they have good chance for the first time. Even young fan centers, the Malay urban yang dulu quite allergic to ni, mula tukar lah.
Okay, I'm coming towards the end now. Just 2 short points. One, I think Rafizi will play a significant role. Except that I don't know. Again, I need your pulling power to get him to my podcast because he hasn't replied to my request. I want to ask him, what is he going to do? What is his plan for the country? And politically, electoral outcome in the next election? Where is he going to stand? That's what I'm going to ask you. Give me whatever answer. And secondly, I want to ask you about UMNO, my party, which I've really given up.
Are you in UMNO?
I'm still.
Okay. Just asking.
I'm still in UMNO. But I don't see them having a future, to be honest with you. I say that. I don't know whether you share my view.
Okay. On Rafizi, this guy works based on data science and economics. And he is a profound analyst, right? And when he says something, dengarlah. Because, of course, me and him had many run-ins during the PH 1.0. Many. Kan? So, in fact, I remember July 14, 2017, I was one of those who actually there were two drafts for the transition agreement between Tun Mahathir and Anwar. One draft was mine, the other one was Rafizi. So Rafizi punya draft was 90% Anwar, 10% apa nama ni rest of Malaysia. Mine was 90% rest of Malaysia and 10% Anwar, but it encapsulates what he wanted to. So Rafizi accepted that. And I was like, wow. So that's the first. So Raf ni is, many people think that dia ni apa orang kata apa sombong lah. Actually, if you know that the guy, he really says his mind out. And truthfully, dia macam Mo Salah lah. Mo Salah bagi tahu. If you do not do anything about this, the club is not going to do well. So Raf and Mo Salah is a massive performer. Like Rafizi, he also massive performer. He can galvanize people, he can campaign. Dia tak tunggu siapa-siapa. Dia tak tunggu tu ni. Dia punya Ayo Malaysia and all that. So he is very capable. Asking what he's going to do, I really hope he wouldn't leave politics, because I think a character like him who have sacrificed so much for Malaysia, personally, 20 years or so, kena jalan kaki ayam pergi mahkamah, 13-14 cases, he took it on, he fought, he did the narrative building and all that. So sayang lah if Malaysian citizens or Malaysian population is deprived of his leadership. So I think that's a great waste. I hope that there will be a certain avenue that he will play a role, a significant role. Kalau tak dalam orang kata apa massive leadership, at least as a check and balance. And I think he will do his role very well. And he's not alone. You have Wong Chen, you have Nick Nazmi, you have a few others, about 10, 11 people. So, to me, PKR should take cognizance of his contribution in the past, his capabilities even now. And when he talks, he spoke about Sabah, and he again talked about Sabah very cleverly and correctly, predicting what's going to happen. MA Research, we do not have too much presence in Sabah Sarawak, so we didn't, but he did, and that was the outcome. So I think it is PKR's greatest loss if they do not bring him in and give him that. And again, Rafizi is not the kind of person who goes for position and a ministerial position apa semua tu. Tengok, he just left and go. So dia ni bukan begitu. He is very motivated by cause, and when he speaks eloquently, and he speaks with great amount of respect for everyone, and focus on what are the issues. Even dengan Zafrul pun dia dah bagi tahu banyak kali dah. In fact, at least me, I tweeted that Zafrul either should resign or sacked as a minister for this. I tweeted that. Instead, he was rewarded by making him as the chairman of the Maida. I cannot understand that. So I do not know the thought process lah. Mungkin inclusive in a very apa ni?
Maybe Zafrul has got big sponsor ko.
I don't know lah, but I think it's like tak tahu lah. What is that? Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone. So I don't understand that. But coming to UMNO,
okay.
See, UMNO to my mind lah. 6 months or 3 months before the GE 16, UMNO will say that, look, I'm going to the election on our own, Barisan Nasional. And after that, after election, we shall see what we do. UMNO has huge potential. There's somebody called KJ, Khairi Jamaluddin. There's somebody called Sharil Hamdan. These are a great...
But they're not in UMNO anymore.
Not yet. Siapa nama tu? Sharil Hamdan is suspended. KJ has been... But there are some talkings here and there, vibrations here and there saying that they will be back. And that is a good move for UMNO. UMNO need to be revitalized. Nak cakap apa pun pasal UMNO. We cannot reduce UMNO to one person, Najib. So if you do that, I know you represented Najib for a while, but if you reduce everything to only Najib, that is a big mistake. UMNO, for all intent and purpose, had its own share of contribution to the nation. Tun Dr. Ismail is from UMNO, Tun Abdul Razak is from UMNO, Tun Abdul Rahman is from UMNO, Tun Hussin On from UMNO, and your favourite Tun Mahathir is also from UMNO. So there banyak yang daripada UMNO ni. Tan Sri Muhyiddin is from UMNO. So you cannot just write UMNO off. UMNO has a history. So my view is that UMNO needs to do reinventing of UMNO. And because what is reinventing UMNO? UMNO as teras perjuangan is clear. They're very clear. Malay centrist. It's not Malay right wing. Malay centrist. Teras perjuangan tu ada. Tetapi how do you manifest that by getting the right people to be the face of UMNO? So if UMNO doesn't do this quickly enough, then the one who's going to lose most is UMNO. And I think I don't think people like Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir, whom I quite fancy about this guy, people like Ashraf Wajdi, these are all, I mean, Ashraf Wajdi is from your kampung, boss, Kelantan. These are all great talents. And KJ, I keep on telling, I met KJ a few times and I keep on telling, bila hang nak pergi masuk UMNO ni? I said, yes, we need to work on it and macam tu. And Zaid Amidi supposedly have said that the isi borang and all that. So daripada kita berpantun-pantun, time is of essence. The election can be 1.5 or 2 years, or even earlier if something else happens. So, and then UMNO, when they want to go for, katakan they pergi on their own, they cannot be seen to be with DAP. So that is why I believe that 6 months or 3 months, this one will be agreed upon between the student and the teacher lah, that they will go. But again, the agreement was for this unity government.
Yeah.
So for the next election, Barisan Nasional will go out and do their own bid, and then after election, ni. But meanwhile, Perikatan Nasional that groups all those 13-14 party under IPR, they are not the Indian votes are going to be very critical. Reportedly, MIC have applied to join Perikatan Nasional, and then before that you already have the Indra, Tula, ini semua, and then you have this Ibrahim Ali punya ni also Putra. So they are a party to be reckoned with. The coalition is to be and who there can lead? Who? Everybody talks about Dr. Samsuri, but state maybe boleh lah kot. On a national level, siapa yang ada pengalaman? In fact, when we were determining who is going to be the Prime Minister candidate PH 1.0, at the time it was in the Dr. Wan Aziza's office, the Parliament. So during the discussion, I gave about 8 or 10 criteria lah of the PM candidate. And based on this candidate, I said I rule out myself. And then the first one to look at me toleh belakang was Azmin. And then with that, I said, can I, since everybody was quiet, pin drop quiet, no. Dia kata, kalau gitu, may I suggest Tun Mahathir as our Prime Minister candidate, blah, blah, blah. Everyone waited for some response. So finally, Tian Chua and Dr. Wan Azizah said they need to speak on the political bureau meeting or something like that. This was a Monday or Tuesday, it's Thursday meeting. And then DAP kata, we sokong immediately. And then Amanao, Dr. Khalid Samad was the one who said. So I know these names who did say that. So eventually it was agreed upon, and then we made announcement dekat IDCC. So likewise, I think there should be some kind of agreement among the Perikatan Nasional or IPR to have that ni. So kalau you nak dengar some of the views of those people who tried to push Tan Sri Muhyiddin out, I thought that was very unwise. Tan Sri Muhyiddin played a big role in the setting up of Bersatu. And if anybody says otherwise, they do not know the history of Bersatu. I was there from day one. The logo creation took place in my house. The constitution, I was involved in the drafting of the constitution. So don't think less of.
So PN basically will mount a serious challenge this time.
I think they do.
Badani.
I think they do have the abilities. They have the ground, and all that they need to do now is to come up with the right narrative, the deal, and then the right narrative. And during MA Research punya quarterly research, we found out that there are 5 things that is important for people, which I loosely term as perut economy. Number 1, mitigating cost of living. Number 2, affordable and quality education. Number 3, affordable and quality healthcare. Number 4, affordable and quality homes. And number 5, respectable and dignified jobs with dignified wages. 5 ni je. So if they see there's the shift away from these 5, kalau cost of living is not mitigated, now a lot of announcement. Baru ni tadi on the way here, I tengok my WhatsApp. If you don't pay your saman, then you are not able to access your
RON 95. All this punishing people.
Even China doesn't do that, no?
Yeah.
So I think we means I'm talking about loosely. Many of the things that has been spoken are not properly thought of.
Yeah. Okay, Doc, thank you very much. I think we had a good chat, almost an hour, and I hope we can, there must be some new development about all these issues. We'll have you again, and then we can even ask you to predict, because you are very good at predicting about specifically, who are the other leaders that you may have overlooked that should be able to restore some dignity to our country, So thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.